Let's go.
Hi guys, I'm Tony, founder of the World Divination Association and known as the Card Geek on social media. I am here today to start off this bumper day of free lessons in so many systems. I mean, we have Lenormand, Kipper and Gypsy with me. We also have Runes with Jane. We have Marco doing Tarot de Marseille, Maria doing Tarot. Karen Dalton-Smith and tea reading. We have Linda Mendonça with an intro to astrology and creating your own birth charts. So we've got a bumper day. If you are watching on YouTube, come over to see all the other videos on in the World Divination Association group on Facebook. So I see a lot of people saying hello. A lot of people coming up as Facebook users, so I won't actually see your name. If you put your name down, I at least know who is here. I would also love to know where you are on your Lenormand journey, what techniques you prefer. If you are brand new to Lenormand, absolutely perfect. If you have got down your row of Lenormand techniques, it's always good to go back to basics and really look at how you're reading and whether you are overcomplicating it for yourself. Today, I'm going to be teaching you what I feel is the easiest way to read Lenormand. It actually also helps you then when you're doing your GT. So if you start reading this way, when it comes to the GT flows really easily for you too. We're going to take it out all the unnecessary and bring in exactly what you need to be fluent, confident, and predictive with your Lenormand deck. So I see some people have put the decks that they're using. Fabulous. We have the Queer Lenormand. Post some pictures in group. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see that as well. Let's have a look. Hi Deb. Hello Jane. Hi Fergus. You're in Limerick. You're not that well, a couple of hours away from us here in Northern Ireland. Hi Lisa. Angelic Energy Vibes. Hello. Hi Christopher. Hi Jenny. Hi Desi. Elizabeth. Gina, and everybody who's coming up as Facebook user. And hi Maria on Pedro's PC. All right, Tasha, you've got the Sunset Lenormand. Thank you. I will be working with that today. It's my it's actually probably the only deck I use these days, just from habit more than anything. Hi Lucia. Hi, Christina. I presume that's you. Ciao, Bella. Hi, if I say it wrong, Ildiko from Glasgow. Yes, so I'm going to put my overhead on and we're going to talk about Lenormand a little bit. I would like you to say if you have any difficulties, even if it's with meanings, for example, or any kind of techniques that come difficultly to you. Put them in the comments and I'll be looking at it as I go through. So I'll put my overhead on first and foremost. There we go. And our Lenormand deck. So I presume everybody who's on here actually knows their Lenormand meanings. If you don't, just put that in the comments. I'll make sure my deck's not in a mess, or it is in a mess. So the easiest way to actually start reading with your Lenormand deck and go back to basics if you are a reader already is to understand what the cards mean in their essence. And when we say their essence, we choose one keyword. Sorry, I was reading the comments there, multitasking. We choose one keyword for each word and really embody what that card means to us. So if we take scythe, for example, the key meaning for scythe is danger. The key meaning for ship is trade. Now, you will have been told to use your adjectives, etc., to describe and combine the cards, but actually just using those two keywords is actually really easy to say, look, there's a warning regarding business. There's a warning about sales. There's a warning about risky business with those two cards. Take another couple. And the clover is our little luck card, whereas the tower is our longevity and long card. So if you take the original keywords as a little luck and longevity, or a long period of time, with this one it also means good health, obviously in the longevity of the body. But if you think about it, you've got a daily. What could that mean? It could mean there are a lot of little occurrences throughout a day that feels very long. It could be that you have quite a few little long jobs to do. So if you are doing your housework, for example, you'll find lots of little things to do that actually take a longer period of time than you were hoping for. And it could also mean that you're just feeling happy throughout the day and really enjoying your own well-being, the longevity and health in that essence. So if you've got those already, it's very easy to start moving on to 3 cards. And if you want any readings done, put the question that you have and we'll run through those as well. How to, my ship's the wrong way around, how to actually answer questions. There we go, ship's gone. But if you were doing a daily with Lenormand, I've got scythe upside down now. Where art thou? It'll come up again. So a daily with 3 cards. We have moon, which is recognition. We have clover, which we had before and little bits of, and snake. Now the best way to read and the quickest way to read a Lenormand 3 card is to imagine that your significator, which will be either woman or man, is sat at the beginning of the line and looking into it. And the reason I say that is because it prepares you for your GT then. It prepares you for your larger spreads when you actually know what you are doing with the larger spread. So pretend you have your person or you looking into the cards as they are. So the day would start with, it would go on with, and it would end with. So think about it as a narrative progression through your day. The morning, actually, you are getting a lot done. You're giving yourself a pat on the back and saying, whoop, whoop, I'm actually getting onto my jobs today and I'm getting them done. You probably get a little bit distracted towards lunchtime because we have clover then coming in, lessening that recognition a little bit to little things, a little look. So if you think about it, it's a rather superficial card and distractions can be seen. So you start off doing really well, distractions come in, and then you're completely off track with your snake. So that's just a simple card 1, card 2, then card 3. It makes your life a lot easier, like I say, when it comes to the GT, if you start reading in narrative fashion. If you want to use the other method of the center card being your focus, it actually doesn't lead you into your narrative that easily. And it stunts a lot of Lenormand readers when they start trying to fold the cards into one another and using mirroring in small spreads, etc. So keep it simple. If we were going to, somebody said about the box, I'm actually going to do the box in a second. If you were going to merge these in with that, remember your core essence. So we have a little look, and then these two are coloring it with their own essences. One being recognition, recognizing that little look, and one being snake. So you could actually say that from this, if you were doing it as a daily with the center card being your focus, that it is a day where things are a little superficial or a little bit of goodness within your day. But with the other two in, it's recognizing that goodness and actually not going with it, because that betrays that. Does that make sense? So as you see, it kind of it stunts you when you are going onto a box spread if you start reading in that manner. So my advice always is to start as a narrative and read through it. That's actually the original way. If you look at the original instructions for Lenormand, that's exactly what we do. We look how the cards flow in a narrative rather than adding all these adjectives, etc. So somebody asked a question. I will answer it with my face, and then I'll go on to a box spread. If I can find it again, because I'm not very good at that. What's my opinion on the extra cards in the Rana George deck? If you look at the history of Lenormand, when I'm talking after Game of Hope, so after 1799, and when we go into mid-19th century, there are a plethora of decks that came out in the Lenormand name. Some of them had 36 cards, others had 52 cards, and the decks were still read in the same way. They had the same instructions on how to read, they just had more cards. So when it comes to decks with extra cards, I see them as that same process really. It's a deck creator adding cards that they think adds meanings to a Lenormand deck. And you can choose to take them out if you just wish to read the 36 cards, but you can leave them in as well and see how they enhance your reading. Maybe you enjoy those. I actually enjoy the ones in the Sui Generis Lenormand by Ciro Marchetti. It has a maze in there and a compass, and sometimes it can really highlight parts of your read. But again, I just take it as a deck that actually has more cards than the 36, and like I say, I've got a few here, 52 card decks, 54 I think I've got, that actually came out in the 19th century and have the extra symbols in there. I'm not suggesting that the deck creators have used those extra symbols, but some have. I'm just looking through the comments. Do you draw an extra card if the last card of the 3 card doesn't give a clear answer? If you don't get a clear answer from 3 cards, you are not answering with the cards that you have received. If you pull another one, it means you still don't understand the 3 cards, and you pull in an extra one to give you that answer, when your answer is actually in the 3 cards. I would advise, if you don't understand the answer, then to reshuffle your cards and lay 9 cards so that you have more information to pull from. but I would not recommend taking an extra card. I am looking now. There's quite a few questions. So I'll do some box spreads and we'll see how the interaction is in there and the flow is in there when you are reading in a more fluid manner. I will put my overhead on. Sorry, I was me today. I try to read through questions at the same time. Joe, I'll come back to yours later. I'll do yes or no at the end of the session. If I don't, please remind me. Somebody asked how their acting gig in May and June will go. I don't see your name, but I will set my intention that it is for you. How will acting gig in May and June go? Anchor's first card out, obviously an amazing card. Heart, garden, mountain, whip, birds, clouds, cross, and mice. I'll just find my two significators here so we can run through those after. So what you need to think about is what you would expect to see if you were expecting a perfect outcome for that acting gig. You know, what, obviously we have whip and cross in there, but we do have anchor, heart, garden at the top. What would be a perfect gig for you? You know, you might have ring and key in the mix, star. You definitely want moon in the mix. House is successful, enterprise. So in a perfect life scenario, lilies, you're on satisfaction on it. Finances, if it were paid. Tower for that longevity and maybe leading to more projects. Ship for sales and trade and actually putting yourself forward. Bouquet, offers for further employment. Dog, that loyalty so that you will get that repeat offers. So we look at what we have, and we have anchor, heart, garden. They're your positive cards. And then we have mountain, whip, and birds. And it's interesting, actually, that whip, birds, and mice fall together. Because the birds, if you know your original instructions for Lenormand, birds means effort, hard work, and effort. So if you put that into the context of the three cards above, you can see, because garden is that close knit of people or people that are surrounding you. So it could be hard work with the other people on set, maybe extras, for example, that are bringing some extra work in the mix. Whip is that discord. And next to birds, I would suggest it's the same, a similar entity in that discord is actually the people around. Obviously, with heart in the mix, you've got a lot of enjoyment. Anchor shows it's exactly what you want to do, but maybe expectations versus reality. You know, if you go in with these expectations, the reality is there's a lot more work that needs putting into actually getting the scenes done, for example. And it may be very, especially with clouds, it may be very unorganized, the actual set where you're working at. So if we're looking as an overall and all these cards mixed together in an energy so that you can squeeze them all into that essence that actually makes sense to you, you'd say, you know, you're really, really going to enjoy it. It's something you want to do. You're really going to enjoy it, and you're putting yourself out there with garden. But there are going to be some issues, and probably takes longer than you want with mountain in the mix because of retakes, perhaps because of the extras that are in there, the retakes that are needed. It all gets a little bit messy in there and a little bit annoying towards the end of filming. But wouldn't you expect that from a set? You know, you would expect that. And the fact that you've got these decent cards at the top, you really can't have Anchor and Heart in the mix and have a terrible time. It's more that what you're really enjoying is being tainted a little bit by this extra effort that needs to be put in. Could you tell me what career, could Lenormand tell you what career would suit you the best? Absolutely. Lenormand can answer any question that you would like it to. Another point I wanted to say is that if your significator comes up in your box spread, then it tells you something about the read as well. It tells you that it's a very active situation in which you'll probably have to take action yourself. When it's not there, it's more about other external influences influencing you. Like I said here, this extra work brought in by others. So if our lady was in the mix or our man for the significator, then you would be looking at a lot more active influence on the person that you're reading for. The position within the spread also tells you something about the situation as well. So say you have a woman and she's sat at the top looking into the spread, it shows that she is taking an active role in this situation and she's trying to get things done. If she's down at the bottom, she's taken an inactive role, and all this is bearing down on her head. And it's even worse if she's looking straight out of her spread, because it shows that all this is causing maybe a worry, but also, you know, some intense impact on her. The situation is an important one to her and it's intensely impacting her. Same goes for man. Obviously, entering the spread is active and in control and taking things in his own right. Exiting the spread, yes, he's at the top and he's taking some control, but there's a lot that he doesn't want to look at because he's looking out the spread. At the bottom, all influencing him, not taking so much control when he really needs to, and they're bearing down on him like it is the end of the world. Even if it's positive cards, they are still bearing down on him. Let me have a look at if there's any more questions on that. Oh, Susanna, good luck with the acting gig. That's brilliant. What might I? Oh no, I missed one. I'm just looking at questions and I will pull another one. So what do I need to focus on when promoting my career? We'll put them all in together again, including the man and lady. What does Tasha need to focus on promoting within her career? Finances come out straight away. Bear is that, if you know your original instructions, Bear is great fortune, but with a side order of envy. And Fox, that's a double whammy there. Crossroads are difficult decisions. Sorry, I'll just have a drink. Letter is communication style, obviously. Ship, excuse me. With ship and fish falling, it's definitely looking at sales and the money that's actually coming in. Bouquet is your happiness and happiness and stalk, with change and mice, that degradation. Now remember, we've asked for an advice on what Tasha can do to actually promote. And the first themes that actually jump out are ship and fish together. Ship and fish together, like I say, is a big focus on sales. A big focus on services, trade, anything commercial. Because we can see the commercials actually are being flanked over and above by fox and mice. So the amount of sales or commercials actually aren't coming in for Tasha as they should, and that's something that needs to be looked at. The fish, crossroads, and bouquet is also a financial decisions. And with bouquet at the bottom, obviously that can mean offers, but it's more about doing things like I'm doing now, Tasha, you know, giving free sessions out, and I'm not suggesting free reads because free reads don't bring in pay reads, but free sessions. I'm losing my voice again. Or pimping up a little bit with bouquet, pimping up. With letter in the mix, it shows that your services actually aren't clear what you provide with fox in the mix and mice. So we don't have a clear visibility on what your services are. There is with bouquet in the mix as well, I would say that you probably need to make your services more appealing to others financially. It doesn't show a financial cut, so it's not suggesting that you slash your prices, but it's more about putting yourself out with big Walla Waka energy and showing what you're capable of. I always say there's some point in a reader's career or some point in a student's career that they have to become the teacher. And that's almost what this looks like. It's like promote yourself as an authority in an area to make sure that these sales, etc., your services are clear. You are clear on what the prices are for those services on your website, Facebook, etc., and communicate those sale prices to make sure that there is no questions from others, as in, you know, you want somebody to come and buy on the spot. So if they're on the website, you want them to buy immediately, obviously, but you need to communicate that what your services are, and you also need to communicate that you are an authority in a certain area. Presidy says free reads do not bring in pay reads. True, I'll quote you forever. It's so very true, sadly. Okay, I'll just make sure anybody has any questions on actually what I'm doing. If you've got any technical questions on Lenormand or just silly things with meanings, etc., let me know. I have seen somebody's asked for the original meanings and somebody's answers. The original meanings from the Lenormand deck can be found in the World Lenormand Association group on Facebook. So if you just join the group and go to the guide section, you'll find it there. Can you show me an example of what career suits me? Absolutely. So when I ask this question or one similar, I'm a bit confused by my answers. Am I asking the question incorrectly? Ooh, I'll put my camera on for this. I do that every time, don't I? So, asking questions. This is my little pet peeve with readers who are getting confusing answers. And yes, it's often that your question that you are asking is confusing. Imagine that you were sat in Judge Judy's court and she was asking questions. Would there be any nuance within a question that could lead to a different answer? No. You have to nail the question down like it is a legal, a legally binding situation. You really have to practice your questions and make sure, think about them in your head. When you ask the question, how many answers can come from that question? You know, how nuanced is it? Are you asking directly? There's a big difference between in the wordage that you use. You see, a lot of readers sit down with the friends and they'll ask really direct questions, but then when they sit with their deck, they ask these fluffy questions that lead to 1,000 answers. Ask your Lenormand deck like it were your friend, or any deck, like it were your friend and you want a direct answer from them. You know, sometimes if you have children, it's a really good example too. Children tend to find loopholes in what you're saying, you know. And as a mom, we really have to nail that down so they can't come back and say, well, I didn't do that because you said. And they put it into their own time zone, their own way of doing. You have to be really clear on your instructions with children so that they don't screw you over. And you have to do exactly the same with your Lenormand deck. Treat it like a friend. So Sheila says, can you show me an example of what career suits me? Question. Yep, if you get loads of different themes down, we can actually do them, because the themes are a great way of really nailing those Lenormand readings down. So for each question that you are answering, you are already thinking in your head what cards would show in that category, and also what the whole 36 card deck meanings then become that theme. So if we're talking about a career and what career suits me, so I will do what career would suit Sheila. Mountain, bouquet, star, man, moon, house, lilies, key, and tower. What do we know about lilies? What does that placement beneath man mean? Put it in the comments if you know, and then I'll interpret it too. Lilies has, sorry, it's Macola. Lilies has a really specific meaning when it's beneath. If we look at the cards we've got moon central. Immediately moon shows one that is at a decent level. So you're talking management. You're talking somebody who is renowned, well known for what they do, even an expert in their field. I know it's man, and we'll come to that in a second, and not woman. But it's somebody who really knows their stuff, and they are recognized for knowing their stuff. Bouquet above is obviously happiness. It comes in with our happiness, but it's also a very showy card. So if you think about a gift, for example, it's a showy card, a card that shows this recognition outwards. I'll see if anybody's commented. Exactly. Lilies beneath a person card shows lack of virtue. So whenever Lilies is beneath, it shows what we call a lack of virtue. But if you think of the Lilies card as a satisfaction card, above their head, it is a satisfaction to everybody, and they're doing the right thing by everybody. Beneath them, they're doing what's right for them. So it's a very ego-based card when it's beneath, in that one is really looking out for oneself. So if you look at that in forms of management, for example, or like I said, somebody who is an expert in their field, then this is somebody who not only knows their stuff, they also know how good they are at it, and they're doing it for themselves. So it is a career that is something that they actually love doing for themselves, not for anybody else. It's something that they are passionate about, with the moon card ahead. With tower and house in the mix, tower is our longevities, long term. House is our successful business card. And if we have them mixed together, you're looking at some form of corporation or a large company that is also world renowned. It's very important that they are, with key beneath. And stars above, we all know stars as that direction above successful business. If you put that into a commercial aspect or a aspect of big business, then you're looking at somebody who is a forward planner, or somebody who sees the bigger picture, which generally a CEO, for example, would do. I've still got Tasha's question on the page, haven't I? Sorry, ignore me. So then the only thing that we haven't covered here is mountain in the mix. And mountain, to me, above the head, with lilies beneath and this ahead. See, I take all the cards into into consideration. You've got mountain, bouquet, and the star. So that would show me somebody that actually can see the way out for businesses when they are in stick or when they have issues. So somebody who is a business navigator, for want of a better word. Oh, I've done it again. I'm all over the place today, aren't I? So I will look through the questions, but I thought you don't need to see my hands all the time. Joe says, are there steps to reading a box spread like this, like reading the first row, or can you just look at associations as they occur to you? A box spread should be read fluidly. If you saw when I was reading one of the box spreads before, ship came out and fish came out, so their notes to self, what direction that you're going in already. But the whole read is read fluidly. So you take into account all those cards that are there, and you don't worry about A plus B equals C. You don't worry about the columns. You take it all in, yes, and then you give your answer, and make sure that you are understanding that you're not missing a card. So a lot of people miss the lily cards because they actually they don't know how to interpret it in the box spread when it comes up. Just make sure that you're not missing those cards. Take every single keyword that you have, put it into your body, and see how it all feels together. And then think about the question that's been asked and see how all that feeling together actually answers that question. It's like I see every card touching every card. If you wanted to read the rows, then the columns, and then the diagonals, etc., you will find that the read comes out very messy, comes out very keywordy and very messy. And that's because you're not taking that flow into account, the influences rather than the lines. Could you go over the house meaning when it is in the middle of a GT? The house when it's in the middle of the GT is a warning sign that you should look out for the people in your inner circle. Excuse me. Now, if house falls in the center, I definitely look at it. I'll look at the cards around it to see what's in the mix. But take a special note if cards like fox, snake, bear, mountain are in the mix too, because they are your enemy or third party cards that actually show the people that you should actually look out for. The dog card as well, because the dog card does show loyalty. But if it's close to a warning card, what are you being warned about that person? You know, think about it practically. If you had all your cards as people in a room and dog was there and there was like the Grim Reaper stood next to it with a scythe, you know, you would see that as a practical, oh my God, what are they doing? Or there's a fox around the legs, for example. You know, it's a heads up to look at the cards around. Let's see what else we have. Can you go over the approach to reading the box spread, like row 1 first, columns? Are there set meanings for? Don't do it, Lisa. Don't do rows and columns because you're not reading the box spread then. You're reading rows and columns, which is just 3 cards together. I'll put it over and I'll show you the difference and why I say don't do it. It's all right to do in your head before. If you do that in your head before and then give a reading, that's absolutely fine. But if you sat there with somebody, don't read it that way, because otherwise you'd have gone mountain, bouquet, star, which you don't know the theme of your read so much because you've not taken these into account. You're just looking at 3 cards. But actually, new moon was in the mix, and moon then affects all the top of them. House affects all of the top of them. Even tower affects all the top of them, and the same in the opposite way. So if you start reading here, it's not going to make a great deal of sense to you because you'll be just doing narrative across, narrative across, narrative across. And it's not actually combining those cards into a full. So if you just had those 3 cards, and we're talking about a career and what the best career for somebody is, probably somebody who seeks out the issues, somebody who seeks out issues and finds a direction. Somebody well known in successful business. Somebody who is enjoying work that's important to a big company or for long-term employment. You see what I mean? It's very stunted and it really doesn't pull all those cards into one another. Can you show an example of someone getting into a PhD program? Ooh, I like that. I'll just put my header on. You would want your person there. So you go through your deck and you pick out cards. Being accepted. Pick out your cards that are possibles. So you're wanting your positive cards, really. And this is what I call your seeking your perfect life scenario. And I talk about that in your GTs. What would you expect to fall to show that actually happening? So it's a great way of actually practicing with your Lenormand deck. You need Tower in the mix and you need Moon in the mix. You need Ring in the mix. Probably need that growth in the mix and direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 more. Anchor I would want. Would I want House? I think Bear. So if I were wanting to see somebody being accepted into a PhD, why do I put Sun in the mix? What's the original meaning for the Sun card? Anybody know? In fact, I would have Anchor beneath and Star above. That would be my perfect life scenario for getting accepted into a PhD program. Does anybody know why I've put Sun in the mix? Hi Wendy, I'm from South Yorkshire. I'm not there now, but I am originally from there. Sun, everything grows with the sun. Perfect, Hermit. Everything grows. Nothing can grow without the sun. So it's that growth. And in this position is growth of self. And if somebody was going for that, even if it's a promotion or a PhD program or any kind of program, there's some kind of self growth in the mix. I am going to get off now. The World Divination Association group on Facebook, you can ask questions all weekend, whether it be Lenormand or anything else. Jane is up next with runes, and then I am on with Kipper cards and Gypsy cards later. Wendy says, Barnsley, I think you were from Sheffield. I was born in Sheffield, yes. So please enjoy the rest of the presentations, lessons today, and I will see you in a few hours. I can't remember when I'm on next. I'll see you in a few hours for Kipper cards, Gypsy cards. Yay! Thank you all.